Hello.
Welcome to the Nobody Talks About It podcast.
I'm Michelle.
And I'm Karen. And today we're going to be talking about something that a lot of people might be thinking, but nobody's really saying out loud.
So let's get started.
Yeah.
So today we're going to be talking about work. We're going to be talking about things like how friendly you have to be at work, and we're going to be discussing some personalities that one might encounter at a workplace. But before we get into that, we do have a little disclaimer. When it comes
Hold
to the
on, pause. Disclaimer.
Oh, okay. Disclaimer. Wow, noise effects. So the disclaimer is we'll be talking about different types of personalities. Karen and I have had many jobs, extensive amounts of jobs, and we will be discussing that as well, and sharing. But just because we're talking about these different types of personalities, it does not, I repeat, it does not mean that it has to do with the people that we work with today. So just be aware. If you feel that you identify with one of these personality traits, well, that's on you. And perhaps you need to reflect on these issues.
Right. I think one of the things we're trying to say is that we've both worked in many places. I've personally been working since I was 14 for the minimum wage of, I think it was $4.75 when I started working. And we found that a lot of the things we're going to be talking about appear in every workplace that we've worked at. Variations, of course, but every workplace. So, Michelle, what are some of the jobs that you've had?
I got to tell you, you were being underpaid. I was at least getting paid $5.50. I too started at 14.
But how is
And I
that
think
possible?
I start.
You're older than
Well,
me. How is that possible that minimum wage was higher when you started working? Like,
yeah, I was getting paid like $5, I think. I don't even.
nope.
I don't know. I could be wrong. My memory. But anyway, my first job was at a bakery. I worked in an Italian bakery. Loved making cannolis. Loved it. Loved making cannolis. But from there, I got fired from that job. It's the one and only job that I got fired from. And then from there, I got into retail, and mostly I had been working in retail, from the salesperson to assistant manager and store managers. I've been a manager of different establishments, from furniture to curtains to sunglass. Think of all those popular brands out there. And then I switched to fashion, and I worked in New York City, in showrooms for the fashion industry. I did that for a few years. I
Oh,
was,
that sounds exciting.
it was when Victoria's Secret was like really big, and I would go to their showroom. But I was an office manager. So I was in charge of running the office. That was fun and exciting. The whole fashion industry, worked at some fashion shows, did that. And then finally, I settled into teaching, which is what I do now. And I've been teaching English as a foreign language and teaching social studies for the last, I don't know, 15, 20 years.
Okay.
So that's what I've been doing. What about you?
Okay. Well, I'm also a teacher, to clarify, if you don't already know that. I teach middle school English, and I've been teaching for, I think this is year 16, middle school and high school. So I started working, as I mentioned, when I was 14. My first job, I worked at a pool in my town, a public pool. And at 14, you could only be a gate girl or a game room girl. So I had to check the passes at the gate so the patrons could enter. And at the game, there was this game room with board games that kids could come up and check out games. So I would just sit there. And eventually, I think when I became 16, I was able to be a lifeguard. So that was a summer job for many years. And then I did
Lifeguarding.
yes. Yeah,
Wow.
I saved a life.
I needed you because I almost drowned, and the lifeguard did not jump into the pool. My friend saved me. Oh my God.
How old were you?
Wow. I don't know. I was very young. I don't know. Very,
Yeah.
very young. But the lifeguard did not save me. It was my friend. Could you imagine? Lifeguard was asleep, not doing their job.
Well, yeah, you could put on your sunglasses, get the tan, but yeah. It was off the diving board. A little kid jumped in and couldn't swim, and I was like, "Okay, this is it." And I dove in, and yeah, I didn't
That
have to
was
do
me.
CPR
Oh
or anything.
my god.
I didn't have to do CPR or anything, but it was still like, heart beating. It's like how we feel when we start recording this podcast. Okay. So I did that for many summers through high school and college. And then in college, I started to work at restaurants. And I will say, in all the jobs I've had, the restaurant business, there are some variations for definitely certain things. I worked at a popular chain restaurant for many years. I started off as a host and they moved me up real quick. Then I became like the takeout car side to go. And then I was a waitress. And then in the summers, I started to work at some bars. I was a shot girl.
Wow. Wow. Oh, wow. Shot girl.
Shot girl, that was good.
Oh,
Some bars in New York City. And this was always like a side job. I think I started when I was in college and you could get a lot of good money and tips, on the weekends. And then when I was
of course,
teaching,
being the shot girl. Hello.
and then when I was
What
teaching,
kind of shots were going on?
I continued to work, I think, once a week on Friday nights. Then I went back to the restaurant and I was like a waitress on a Friday night. Also, I will say I've worked in a lot of camps, some day camps, some sports camps, camps for little kids. Probably the one of my favorite jobs I ever had. I did these things called teen tours where I got to travel with wealthy teenagers all around the world and US, and I was a chaperone. And I did
Wow.
a little bit of retail during Christmas season. I worked at Bath and Body Works because they always hired extra staff. So, and yeah, now I've been teaching.
I was thinking, should we be mentioning these names? I don't know.
I don't know, maybe sponsorship.
I know.
Should we not? I don't know.
Cha-ching. I don't know.
And even now I teach and I tutor. I feel like as a teacher, you always have to have a side job. But that's
Always.
another
Yeah.
that's another story.
That's another podcast.
So as you can see, we have lots of experience, and I think what we're going to be talking about has been apparent in many of these places we've worked at, right, Michelle?
Yes, most definitely. Many, many different types of personalities you come across. So we'll be uncovering and talking and dishing out some dirt on the
Dishing the
different personnel.
dirt. So we
Yeah.
came to this topic. We decided to talk about work. Well, we did marriage, we did kids, so we're like, okay, we got to do something different. We're going to do work. And we said, okay, what angles should we take when we're looking at work? And we decided to talk about work relationships and work friendships. And Michelle has a very different opinion than I. In fact, when we were brainstorming ideas for this topic, she goes to me, we're not friends. And I'm like, Michelle, we're doing the podcast together. What do you mean we're not friends?
Yeah.
I think we're friends, but what did you mean by that? What's your whole perspective of work friendships and relationships?
Well, I think sometimes people think that when you're at work, because you work with somebody all day and you talk to them, they assume that you're friends. And I don't see it that way. You're not friends. You are somebody that I work with every day. And yes, I'm friendly to you. And yes, we get along, but that doesn't make me your friend. You know what I'm
But you've
saying? If
never had friends at places you work at?
no. I mean, well, yes. I don't know how to answer that question. I feel like already I'm on the spot. Oh my God. I have friends. I am friendly to you at work. We get along. I have a work bestie. Okay, wait, let me back it up. Let's back it up because I already feel like I am under the spotlight and I'm getting, eyeballs from people out there. So let me back it up here. Let's get the definition. Okay. A definition. I have a definition here. Workplace friendships have been described as non exclusive, spontaneous relationships founded on shared interests, aligned values, mutual trust, commitment, and enjoyment.
Okay, sum that up in your own words. What are you trying to say here?
So based on that definition, I would say yes, then we're friends, but only at work.
Okay. My opinion is very different. I think when you start a job, you meet people but I think some of them can turn into really good friends. In fact, some of my best friends now are people that I've worked with. And ironically enough, we've been friends. I have two very good friends that I taught with when I was living in Italy. And I think I'm better friends with them now. And not only one of them is still in Italy than I was when we worked together. And they've been very important in my life. So I don't know. I think work relationships, they start with, yeah, a shared interest. I guess you could call it a shared interest if you're interested in the job, or just a shared habit, something that you have to do every day. But I
Right.
do think that they can turn into people that are really important in your life.
I think so. I think it's possible. I mean, obviously, you're explaining that you do that. I can't necessarily say that I relate. Yes, I do consider you my friend. It's official, Karen, on
Wow.
air in a podcast. You are my
Wow.
friend, and I believe that after you leave our current establishment, if you leave, we will continue to be friends. But I don't think I can say that to a lot of people because yes, I get along with people. We've had like just currently because right now we work at an international setting
Right.
and the turnover.
Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer.
Yes. And the turnover is high. People come and go all the time.
Hmm.
So you can get along with somebody and you can click with them at work, but then after they leave, I might not necessarily keep in touch with them. So they're a friend at work, but outside of that, no, they're not a friend because I don't continue to keep in contact and they don't continue to keep in contact with me after we leave. Does
Okay,
that make sense?
that's true, and I do agree with that because I will say when I worked in restaurants, those people felt very important to me for that time, and they were, but I don't think I talk to any of them now. And when I taught in New Jersey, again, same thing, people that were day to day important to me, made me laugh, my confidants, but they're not really in my life anymore.
Right. So that's, I guess, maybe that is my definition. Like, if I'm going to continue the relationship with you outside, which when we make it big, we go viral, you and
Mhm.
I will have to continue. So we will continue to have our friendship. Right. But if I know, like, I'm not going to talk to you afterwards, and it
Mhm.
doesn't mean I don't like you, and it doesn't mean that, I don't know, that I don't want to, but that's just the nature of things. So, that's why I walk around saying like, "Well, okay, no, you're not my friend," because I know that you're not gonna be my friend afterwards.
So, how friendly do you think you have to be at work?
Well, you don't really.
Wow. Wow.
No, that's no,
I
no,
mean,
no.
you're saying, yeah, you maybe you have friends day to day and then they leave and you don't continue that friendship. So, we've been talking about friendship, but in general, day to day, yeah, how do you act to these people? Are you friendly?
Well, yes, you have to be cordial, right? But then I also believe that there's like a limit on that cordiality. Like, so for example, do you have to say hi to everybody every day? Do you say hi to everybody every day?
I think
And do
if
you have
you're
small talk with them every day?
Hi is different than small talk. I think if you're walking past someone in the hallway, again, we're working in a school, and you don't look at each other or make eye contact or smile, I think that's rude. I think, yes, you should say hi. You usually say, hi, how are you? But you don't really care how they are. Right. I remember
Exactly.
I remember my parents had this wallpaper in our bathroom. It was like, don't tell your friends about your indigestion. Or don't tell people about your indigestion. How are you is a greeting, not a question. Like when you say how are you, you don't actually really care how
And
people
you don't and you don't expect a response. It's just like, "Good. Okay, good,
It's a
good. See you later."
greeting. It's a
Yeah.
greeting.
Well,
So,
yes, but you think that we have to say hi to each other. See, I disagree because what about because this is me. I tend to think from my car to my office, I tend to be in thinking mode. Either I'm thinking about my upcoming day or personal stuff that's going on or like what I'm going to be doing at the end of the day. I might not notice you because I'm engrossed in my own thought. Or
hmm,
maybe I'm just in a bad mood that morning. I haven't had my
mhm,
coffee yet. You know what I'm saying? And I don't wanna say hi to you. I
okay.
guess,
But if
you
you're
know,
one on one with someone, I just think it's awkward.
I don't know. Some people don't say hi to me. Maybe they know me.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I think my perspective is a little bit different. I think that it can be really beneficial to have good relationships with everyone, including the boss, and in terms of just being friendly. I think that that helps. I think inside for sure, like we all secretly don't like certain people.
Hmm.
So there's an element of faking it on the outside. And I think we've definitely all been fake at work in some situation, right?
Well,
Whether
yeah, in
it's
some
about how you
situations, yeah.
feel. Yeah.
You have to. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think there's an element of playing the game to an extent in the workplace. I do feel that it's important to build relationships, have respect for your colleagues, get along, but playing the game is important too.
What does that mean, playing the game? Maybe that's my problem. I don't play the game. What is it?
I think just realizing that you're in a professional setting. So sometimes you need to tell people what they want to hear, maybe
Hmm.
ask things that you don't really care about.
Okay. Well, now see, I think that boils down to the playing the game. I don't know. I think that also has to do with your personality type. If you're an
Mhm.
introvert versus an extrovert,
Mhm.
um, I don't know. Like, I think if you don't enjoy socializing, if you don't like talking to people that much, which is
Mhm.
me, right? That's hard for me. That is that is a hard thing
Right.
for me. And
Right.
so somebody who's extroverted who tends to be more friendly, I'm not saying that you're extroverted, but you're a more friendly person. You like to say hi and be social. Um,
Mhm.
maybe you enjoy that. So for me, it's not something I necessarily enjoy, and I see that as, like, additional work. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Yeah, no, it does. I mean, I think playing the game is even as simple as you're walking into work, as we said, and you had a shitty weekend, and you're walking past people that are like, "Hi, how's your weekend?" And you're like, "Oh, it was good. It was fine. It was nice."
How was
I mean,
yours?
I've done that many times, and it's playing the
Right,
game because again, I feel like people, my friends at work maybe will hear more details, but in general, like putting on the face, playing the game is part of like putting on the face, being friendly and just treating people with, I don't know, dignity to say hello. That's my opinion. But
right. Well, yeah, I find it to be, I do. I guess what you call play the game. I say hi to people, but there are times, like I
mhm,
said, where, I'm just not in the mood to be
mhm,
friendly. I say hi and that's it,
right.
and I keep going.
Right. You never like ignore someone or you never, but do we think it's okay to do that? Do we think it's okay to not even do the minimum?
I don't know. Do you think it's okay? Well, no, you don't think it's okay. I think it's okay. It depends on what it is that I'm doing. You don't know. You
Yeah.
don't know what you got going on in the head. You
Yeah,
know what
you
I'm
never
saying?
know what someone else is going through, and well, I think that's a benefit of maybe working remotely that you don't need to interact with anyone.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Oh, maybe that is my thing, right? Working remotely. Can you teach remotely?
Co- COVID,
Yes. That was good.
that
Didn't have
was
to
kind
talk
of
to
great.
anybody.
You went online, you did your thing in between classes, you had your alone time.
Exactly.
Well, in all seriousness, when it comes to remote work, one of my really good friends was transitioned to working remotely entirely during COVID, and he's still remote. So we sat down and spoke with him about his thoughts on how his work relationships have changed since going remote. So we are now going to welcome our first podcast guest. Welcome, Mike.
How are you?
Hello. Hello. Hello.
So, Mike, how have your work relationships changed now that you're home all day? Maybe wearing clothes, maybe not.
Um, so I think it's different in that there's ways for people to contact you that maybe weren't there before, and then what the obvious thing is, nobody could just show up to your office and drop in and kind of pop in and talk to you. But now we have Teams, for example, which is like an instant messenger, so people will contact you kind of at random and oftentimes without asking, and just reach out to you that way if they need to catch you without you knowing about it. I try to, say, hey, if you just shoot me an email or shoot me a text message, that's usually the best way to try to get my attention. So that's why I'm prepared if it's something I need to be prepared for.
Do you have boundaries for like times you can message each other?
Not on paper, but I'd like to think that there's like courtesy about it. Doesn't always work that way. I've had people send me messages on the weekend that weren't necessarily urgent. I've had people message me after hours. It's not necessarily urgent. I think most people though will be courteous about it unless it's a real emergency and stick to normal business hours.
That could be, like, annoying, people contacting you all the time. I mean, I don't know if that's worse than somebody walking into the office or the same thing.
It kind of depends because if you're in to me the one thing that's like if you're literally in an office then people kind of know if you're not there maybe you got up to go to the bathroom or get coffee or get lunch or whatever it is and then sometimes I feel like there are people who might try to draw an inference like if you don't answer right away they instantly assume you're off
Busy.
doing something else. Yeah. Some people will be like okay you're actually will be understanding. It kind of depends on the situation and the person.
Hmm.
But do you feel lonely now that you're home? Like, do you miss the vibe of being in an office, being with coworkers,
Absolutely.
discussing?
Absolutely not. Not even for a second. Um,
No.
no,
But
I
you
think
you
that
love to discuss, Mike.
yeah, but I feel like I still talk to people all the time. I'm still on the phone. I'm still getting messages all the time. A lot of people, I feel like people in older generations still are very reliant on the phone, and there's still sometimes things
Well,
that I feel like
try
I
not
don't.
to be offended.
Yes, much older people, and there's certain times with other situations where I'm like, this really is not. This is not an email conversation, right? This should be a phone conversation. And I'll say that I'll say like, let's get on the phone to go over this. But it all depends. I mean, I think it also depends on the person too, like what your life is outside of work, right? Like there are people that their social life and work are like very intertwined.
When you were working in an office, did you enjoy it?
I
Are
mean,
you a
we're
people person? I'm not a people person, so I'm
He
trying to find some.
is,
Oh,
but
that's
he doesn't
odd.
like he calls me the time burglar.
no, there are sometimes situations, right? So like there are there are certainly situations in all aspects of life where I feel like, listen, this is not a good use of my time. And as I get older, I understand that time is like the most valuable thing. Like it's more valuable than money because if you lose money, you can make money back, but you can't like
Right. Yeah,
time.
yeah.
And
And
Mike, what's your line of work? We need to like share that.
okay,
You're the first non-teacher on the podcast.
yeah, so I work for an insurance broker and I do their claims advocacy. And everybody who does the claims advocacy work is an attorney by background.
Oh, okay.
You basically advocate for um, your clients to get the most coverage that they could get under their insurance policies for large businesses.
Mhm,
Do you have
mhm.
friends at work?
Yeah, I definitely have people that I'm more friendly with that like I would hang out with them outside of work. But the interesting thing, I guess, now about working from home is that a lot of people, move further away. Um, I'm one of the few people I think that doesn't live too far from the office. It's a totally different dynamic than it was
And
before.
Mike is based in Jersey City, New Jersey, and your office is technically Manhattan, yeah?
Correct, yes.
Nice, nice. See, that would be ideal, not having to deal with people all day. I mean, you deal with people, but on a remote. So I was saying, like, I don't necessarily like the small talk and the interruptions, and I don't want to necessarily be social. I want to get my work done or do whatever it is that I have to do. So I was commenting how remote work might be the type of work that I enjoy most.
And you don't feel lonely. You don't miss being around people.
No. I mean, well, okay, you're saying being around people. So yeah, being around coworkers like physically, no. But am I still dealing with them all the time? No, it's not because anything personal,
No,
right? To be clear
There
on
you
that.
have it,
it's
folks.
It's
It's
not
all
personal. It's not
You
really.
don't need coworkers to be happy. You don't need coworkers to be happy. There you have it.
it's
No,
it's
you
me.
don't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still dealing with people on a constant basis. Like I said,
So
Thank you.
overall, you don't miss your coworkers.
All right. Yes, one for Michelle.
so I
Thank you,
say,
Mike.
well, I mean, miss is like very like in quotes, right? So like, I am not missing them because I'm still talking to them all the time. Like I'm still dealing with them every
All
day.
right.
That has
Right,
not,
right.
you
All
know,
right.
like
Okay.
I'm just not with them in person. They're not with me in person. You know, that maybe
It's
I should be.
okay. You don't have
Yeah,
to explain yourself. I totally understand you. It's
yeah.
okay. It's all good?
I just, nobody is like my coworkers are not necessarily like, oh, like let's go hang out or whatever. Like it's not. It's just like a
Exactly.
different dynamic. Yeah, which is fine.
It's
All
fine.
right.
It's all good. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
No,
Mike.
my pleasure.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, my classroom.
Yes. Oh my goodness, your classroom is like a highway. It's like I don't know, what do you call it when people go in and out? That door, a revolving door, in and out,
Revolving
in and
door.
out.
I
Yeah.
mean, everyone comes to my classroom
Yeah, I don't know how
and
you
it's
get work done.
fun.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't. Sometimes I have to put on out boundaries and say, I have something to do, but that's hard for me to do. But yeah,
Oh,
my classroom is the hangout spot. People pop in, people pop out, people say hello, and it's nice. But yeah, sometimes it's like you do need that alone space.
yeah,
And my sister
exactly.
said to me, my sister, she works at a university and she has an office, and she's telling me how like every certain day of this week there's a coworker that comes in and talks with her, and she's like, well, you must not know what this list is like because you don't work in an office. And I'm like, seriously, we definitely come to my classroom.
Oh.
Come to my classroom.
Yeah, exactly. People are constantly coming in your classroom, and I don't know how you do it. I'm quite surprised when people come to my classroom. I'm like, "Oh, welcome."
But I guess people feed off of that. Yeah, I guess they kind of, I give the vibe that like, hey, yeah, like I like to be social, I like to be friendly. So, and it's fine. I mean, I enjoy it, but yeah, sometimes you do
So,
need that.
what do you do when you have to work? What do you do?
I'll usually talk to them for a little bit, and then I don't know, maybe start to look at my computer screen. I don't know. What should I do? I don't have
I
good
have a
boundaries.
solution. Oh my
It's
gosh,
very hard for
Michelle
me to
solutions.
say. It's very hard for me to say, like, okay, I have work to do. And also, I think it also depends because if it's someone who's like I'm not super close with, they're not going to stay in chat, right? But if it's my friends, I'm sometimes okay with that. But tell me
Oh,
your
okay.
solution.
Oh, no, 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 no. I don't have a solution for that. Like, I would just
Oh,
kick people out of my room. That's just my personality. Get out. I gotta work.
okay.
And I'll tell you, I gotta work. Even you, I tell you, I'm like, I can't talk now. I gotta do some work, right?
Yeah.
The few
Yeah.
times that I do work at work.
But I think there are some people at work that make you feel that you enjoy going to work more. I mean, at least that's how it's been for me. I've had some friends, that are confidants that, I can literally walk into their classroom feeling a certain way, bad,
Hmm.
down, negative, angry, sad. And I walk out and I feel like, I've confided in them, and maybe they're sort of part life coach, therapist, motivator, and I feel like I walk out and I'm like, I feel like I've had a pep talk. you know
Yeah. Yeah.
Friends that literally like regulate my nervous system, especially since being abroad, having those friends that you can confide in, and they make you feel better, and that makes work, especially going back on a Monday, that makes work enjoyable knowing that you're going to see those people you know
Right, right. Well, I read an article, and the article talked about like the benefits of having that close relationship with
hmm
other people within your job. And there are many, many benefits. Like you enjoy going to work,
hmm
even supposedly your performance will improve, right? So your overall
hmm
performance improves. You have satisfaction, that feeling of satisfaction at your job. So there are many, many positives for having those friendships. And I do have some friendships, but I don't have like a multitude. I'm not a social person like you are a person
Mhm.
at work. And there's a couple of other people that are my crew, if you want to call it.
Mhm.
So, and it does make going to work, a more friendly, positive experience.
Right. I mean, some of I think my favorite colleagues are the ones that are sort of just on your path, you know. Maybe they're close in age and they're going through some of the same things that you're going through, whether it's dating, making decisions, the funny coworkers that just have zero judgment, you can walk in and share any story
Uh huh.
and they will just laugh with you and make you feel good about it. The coworkers that cover your ass, right?
Yes.
There were a lot of
Why
those in the
would
restaurant
you need that?
business. you
Yeah.
know, but I mean, then there's people that are difficult to work with, people that maybe you don't actually like, and what do you do with those sort of people?
Yes. What do you do? But wait, wait, wait. Are we going to start talking about the different types of people?
I think we can.
No, wait, wait. I have a question for
Okay.
you. Wait, wait,
Okay.
wait.
Okay.
Back it up.
Okay.
Back it up.
Back
So,
it up.
back it up. So, you tend to be more friendly at work,
Yeah.
right? What do you do with, because there's a lot of positives, but then there's a lot of negatives. Like, what do you have issues between the people that you work with that you find close? Or have you had, not speaking now, but in the past,
Uh,
have you had issues like between different people, or I don't know, because you are friendly at work? Because some people say no, but like say social media now, or
uh-huh.
going to parties or doing extracurricular activities outside of work, if you are at that point, how do you deal with, like, okay, I'm going to hang out with this person, but this person's not invited even though I talk to this person all the time? Like, how does that jive,
Oof. You're
you
asking
know
me to answer this. Yeah, I think I've been in situations where maybe I've been confronted, um, and that's been hard for me, maybe by a friend. And
uh-huh,
I think it's just about maybe owning up to it, sharing your story, right? Sharing
right,
your perspective. In the restaurant business, there was tons of drama, tons of people that would start rumors, confront
exactly.
you, I
And
remember I was
nowadays,
like in the bathroom and I got confronted by one of my coworkers about this guy because I don't even remember the story if she was with him and then she thought he liked me and she like cornered me and confronted me and I was just like drama.
yeah. And what about like social media? Do you have to, like, if you're, what do we do with that? If you're at work and you talk to all these people, do you have to follow them like on social media, or like if you have um
Uh
devices, or
oh, Apple Watch.
yeah.
You feel strongly about that. We have Apple Watches. So I follow like 7 of my coworkers and I'm like, "Hello. I'm getting more steps than them. Okay, feeling good about myself."
Right, right.
Uh I don't know, that doesn't bother me. Social media doesn't bother me. I think if someone posts too much or don't really care, you could what is it?
Do
Not
you
unfollow, but like what is the word? Where they
block?
don't appear in your feed. No, you don't unfollow, you don't block them, but it's like there's some setting that you can not put them in your feed so you're not seeing all of their updates. But I don't know. I don't really I don't know. I've maybe done that with like 1 or 2 people that just post too much that it's annoying, but I don't even know if they were coworkers.
Right. And so my point of view is like, well, you're my coworker, but that's it. I draw the line there. I don't want to necessarily follow you on social media, and I don't want you following me on social media either. And it's not that I don't like you, and it's not
Mhm.
like, I have something against you. It's just that we're not friends. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I don't know if that makes sense. And
So what do?
so
You just don't accept them?
I don't accept, and I
Mhm.
don't say, "Oh yeah, I'll follow you." I don't say anything.
Actually, that's funny. I think on Facebook I have like on Instagram I think I have something like 890 like pending follows, but some of them are people I don't know and I don't let like random people follow me. But even on Facebook, I think I have people pending that I've worked with that it was the same thing. And I don't even remember until I go back and then I'm like, oh no, I'm friends with this person. Okay, accept. But some
Right.
people I'm like, I've kind of worked with you, but like, do you need to be seeing all the pictures I post?
Exactly. You
Not
see?
really.
But I think a lot of people fall into pressure with that, like,
Hmm.
especially in the moment. If you're in the moment, Like, everybody's talking. Like, if you start talking, oh, yeah, I have this device and I want to follow you. I want to see your steps or whatever. And you're there and they're like, oh, yeah, you have a one too. Let's follow. It's like, well, I don't want, I don't want, I don't want to follow you and I don't want you to follow me. And
Yeah.
it's kind of like, so are
But
you, then you,
there's always a mute button, I
oh,
think,
so
for
you're
those
saying I should
things.
follow and then mute.
I don't
Uh,
know, just to keep things like smooth. But I don't know. These are the people that you have to see every day. So I would rather avoid awkwardness.
okay. I don't know. Maybe I'll try that.
Mute.
Mute. Okay.
So
You were
go
saying
ahead.
about personalities. No, you were
No,
talking, you
I don't
started
know.
talking about
Like I do
personalities.
think that you have your perspective of friendship, I have mine. But then
Mhm.
there are people that you have to interact with at work that don't float your boat, right? You don't vibe with them. You don't maybe even like them.
Wow. Yeah. I've had a few of those in my history.
Elaborate? Would you like to elaborate?
No.
Okay.
No, it's exactly that. You just, for whatever reason, I always go by what my husband has told me. And I think this is the one piece of advice, the best thing that he's ever said to me when it comes to work relationship. He's like, "You're not candy." And he's like, "Not everybody is going to like you, and you're not going to like
Ah,
everybody. So just remember that. And even if you are candy, there are different types of candies, and
right.
some you like more than others, and that's how you should see relationships at work." And he gave me that advice because, dealing with different types of people, even outside
Mhm.
of, not even at work, but dealing with different types of people, just to keep that in mind. And I thought that was very helpful. And anytime I
I like
hear,
that.
yeah, anytime I hear coworkers like complaining or whatever it might be, I tell them like, hey, remember, you're not candy. And it could be about anything. It could be on the outside or work related. So,
Michelle, I've never heard you say that.
well, you've never come in complaining about anybody.
Oh.
If you come in and complain, I will give you that advice.
All right. I like that though. I think that pertains to even life on a larger level. There's going to be people that you don't like, you know.
Exactly. Exactly.
Who is
What
it
a
for you? What's your work personality that drives you insane?
oof. What drives me insane? I don't know if it's the kiss up
Okay.
or
The Debbie Downer.
the Debbie Downer. Oh my goodness, I don't know. It's one of those
But,
two.
but contradictory to that, what about the one that's like just so bubbly and overly positive? Like, just stop. It drives me insane. That,
You're overly positive. I could deal with that because maybe you're like in a negative funk. You know what I'm saying? Maybe
mm-hmm.
maybe like your boss or the organization like has announced something and you're not too happy about it. And so the bubbly person might offer a different perspective, or
All
just be
right.
like look at the positive of whatever it may be, and
Eh,
it might uplift you or might give you a little different perspective. No?
okay. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're comparing the two, like, because you mentioned before the Debbie Downer, right? And then the bubbly
hmm
one, I think in a critical situation, when the organization has announced non positive news for you, I think the bubbly one would be the person that you go see because the Debbie Downer will just make it worse. Oh my goodness. And
Oh, I
you'll feel even
agree.
worse. And it just, it spirals into this big negative thing. And then it's like a complaining fest rather than using a bad word,
I agree.
right?
That's draining when you're around the person that finds, something negative in everything and
Yeah,
you walk in and everything is drama or everything is negative. Yeah, I don't like that either.
exactly. Who else do you find? What about you? Who do you find to be?
Mm,
Hi, how are
I don't know. The
you?
one that's
I have
always
a UTI.
TMI. Although sometimes with my friends, I mean, they get TMI, but I think I'm only like that with the people that I'm really friends with. Yeah, the TMI one, or the one that you walk in, you're like, "How's your weekend?" And it's like, this person died, and this
Oh,
happened,
yeah.
and this happened, and this happened. It's like I don't even know what to say to
It's like I
that.
was
Yeah, everything is drama. Everything is
yeah,
drama.
yeah. So there are those.
Um,
Those crack me up. I'm like, okay, I don't
yeah, the ones that I think also like can't handle stress. In the restaurant business, it's called like when you're in the weeds. It's like when you have all these things that you have to deal with, there's like in the back of the kitchen, there's like tickets coming in, and you're like trying to plate the food and take the food out. And it's like, then people just start yelling at you, because they're stressed. That drives me
Yeah,
insane.
you must have had or you must have met a lot of interesting characters in the restaurant business. I read Anthony Bourdain's books, right? And he talks about that in his books, the different types of people that you meet.
Yes.
And so I found it to be very exciting. I could never work. I never thought of myself working in the restaurant industry, but
Hmm.
very, very interesting that whole, atmosphere and the crew that's there.
Well, and he said, I love this is this is from Kitchen Confidential, because when we were talking about this episode and planning it, I remembered that book, and I opened it back up, and one of my favorite quotes from him. Okay, again, this is from Kitchen Confidential. It says, "Just because someone you work with is a miserable, treacherous, self-serving, capricious, and corrupt asshole shouldn't prevent you from enjoying their company, working with them, or finding them entertaining." And I don't know, I think the last part resonates with me, because I think all of the personalities in a workplace are entertaining.
Yes, yes. You have to look at it that way. I mean, in the moment when it's like 2 minutes before you're supposed to walk out of a meeting and that person the person in charge says, "Does anybody have any more questions?" And there's like 30 seconds left.
Nope. Nope.
And then you have
And
that
they're like,
one person shoot their hand up in the air to ask that
mm-hmm,
question and you want to murder them. You must look back and reflect and find the situation to be entertaining and laugh about it. I do agree. Yes.
it's
Yeah.
entertaining. Yeah.
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 I do agree. Good quote.
So, and I think, just going back to some of the positive, like, workplace personalities too. I think at every job there's, the entertainer, the storyteller, where the one where you walk into the room and I think that's kind of like you,
I
Michelle.
was
Like,
going to say, I wonder
when
what
you
I
tell
am out of,
stories.
all the different types of personalities out there. Which one could I possibly be? I mean, okay, I'm the entertainer. I'm the clown. All right.
I think, yeah, when you tell a story. What about me? What am
Oh,
I?
oh, goodness. Oh, this is good. Well, you're not the meeting scheduler. No, no. The gossiper, no, definitely not.
But I have the gossip. I have the gossip.
Well, yeah, actually, you're in the know because I don't know if that's one of
Mhm.
the characteristics out there, but you tend to know
Mhm.
what's going on because of your
Mhm.
strategic location in the building. Because you
Strategic
Yeah, you
location,
have that
yeah.
revolving door. So it's not gossip. It's
Mhm.
not gossip, but you are very friendly and you're open to everybody and everybody feels welcomed in your room. So you're a positive,
And people tell me
yeah,
things.
and they feel
Yeah.
comfortable around you. I don't know what the characteristic is for
Mhm.
that, but that's you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you keep it,
The social
yeah, the
one,
social
maybe.
one. There you go. Hmm.
The social one. There's like always like a, I don't know, a wisdom person, the life coach, I think.
Wisdom?
I don't know, someone that I go to for wisdom. And I'm like,
Like,
okay,
what should I do in this situation? Yeah, that's true.
what should I
That's true.
do?
That's true. There's somebody that you can go and do
Hmm.
that with. Yes, yes.
Yeah. The Zen one, like we talked about earlier, those friends that just, I don't know, I walk into their classroom and they regulate my nervous system as soon as I start talking to them.
That's a good one to
The
have.
TMI.
Yeah, the TMI, the TMI. That's the one. Hi, how are you? No, I have this problem. Da, da, da. Yeah.
You said one the other day that made me laugh. The one that's always just about to quit.
Oh, yeah. They're always going to quit and they never do. And sometimes I'm like, I wish you would.
Hmm. The workaholic or eager beaver.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's a ton of.
The hugger. The hugger.
Oh, don't get me started on that one. The hugger. Don't get me started on that one. Oh my god, don't hug me. Why are you hugging me?
Well, Michelle, that's a question that you have, and many of our listeners might also have. But do you know that my therapist actually told me that there's some sort of science about hugging that when you feel bad, you should just go around and hug people?
Oh my god, no.
And so I brought one of our friends,
Okay.
and we're going to dive into why she's a hugger.
Oh, okay, okay.
So, this is a very big moment. We are now welcoming our second guest of the
Woo!
podcast.
Yeah.
Welcome, Neelam.
Yeah,
Hello.
Neelam.
Oh, sorry. Hello, Michelle. Hello, Karen. Thank you for having me tonight. How have you been?
Great, great. How are you?
I'm good.
Are you
Mich-
nervous?
No, not really. So I hear you guys are like want to know about this hugging thing that I have going on here, you
Michelle
know?
wants to know why you hug her.
Michelle wants to know why. Well, I mean, I don't know. Hugs are like my care language. It's like everyone has their love language, and I like to say it's my care language, and I
Hmm.
feel they're important.
Care
Um,
language, love language. What do you mean? What is that?
Yeah,
yeah,
that's not one
it's
of
like,
the five love languages, Neelam.
oh, I didn't know there was a list of love languages. It's
Oh,
the way I show I care, the
Wait,
way I
what's a
show
love
affection.
language?
you don't know the five
Oh,
love languages? Like words of affirmation, giving gifts, physical touch. Did you know that there are
No.
oh, but
also workplace love languages? Okay, that's
Oh,
another episode, but
well,
okay.
Maybe that could fall under my love language because I tend to give, and please don't take this in the wrong way, but I tend to give hugs to some of my colleagues, and that's the way I show my care, that I care for them, that I am there for them, right? So and I feel it goes both ways.
Hmm.
Um,
do you hug the boss?
Really?
so
Do you hug the boss, Neelam?
No, because there's some people who just do not, don't. I can't hug my boss to begin with. It's some people just, do not like hugs. You can't just go to a random person at work or
Hello,
wherever and say, "I
hello.
want to give you a hug," right? No, you can't. But I feel Michelle knows that I give hugs, and yeah, she started off as very, how can I put this? Like, not too comfortable with that. But I think that over the years, I've converted her for sure. Just
Michelle?
as I've converted you,
I
Karen.
remember the first time she said to me, she's like, "Can I hug you?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay." And I stood there like a statue, like my arms to my side. I'm like, "What do I do with this?"
And
Neelam,
then fast forward. Yes.
have you ever had any awkward encounter where you go to hug someone and they tell you no, or you hug someone and you can tell they don't like it?
Well, maybe, and I don't know. I mean, this is the podcast that no one speaks about, right? So, and I'm sure, well, my boss is probably going to be hearing this, but at
No,
times,
he doesn't. No, 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 no. He doesn't
okay,
listen to us. Don't worry about it.
If you're
okay. So, but
listening right now,
either
our
way,
boss, send us a text because then we'll have proof that you listen to us.
okay, so
Exactly.
at times I have been very filled with emotion, be it whatever, end of the school year, we finally made it, or some important event, and I always ask. And he's been
That's
really,
good.
really nice, and he said, but there are times when people would rather not, and I don't take offense. It's like, okay,
Exactly.
I get it. You don't want to hug, and that's fine, but I just wanted to piggyback on what Michelle said, about her first time, and she was like a statue. And then fast forward 5 years or a little bit more, and my day does not begin without giving Michelle or you a hug in the morning or sometime during the day. It's important.
I gotta say, your hugs, they calm me down. They make me feel
Well,
loved.
well, there's science behind that, right?
Okay,
And
what?
it works
Oh,
Because
both
my
ways.
therapist told
what
me
is
that,
the
but
science?
I don't really remember what he
Yeah,
said.
so
What's the
there's science
science,
there.
Neelam?
So basically, the ideal hugging time, if you were to measure the time you are in contact with the person, hugging the person, of course, without it being too awkward, is 10 seconds. And
Oh.
in
That's too
those 10
much.
seconds,
Too
yeah, it's just
much.
a lot.
Oh my god.
Well,
Oh,
sometimes, and in those 10 seconds, it seems the body releases this chemical called oxytocin. And it's the same effect that you would have probably if you were to hug your dog. You hug your dog. Why do you hug your dog? Your dog, when you hug your dog, you feel good because it releases this oxytocin.
I don't
And so
I don't touch animals, but okay.
as you hug, your stress levels automatically go down, and then it helps improve your mood. And there have been studies that have shown this.
But
And
that oh, sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead,
no,
go
no,
ahead.
no. I was just thinking about what Karen said and her therapist. There is, in fact, a therapist who promotes this. Her name is Virginia Satter,
Oh,
and she
she's got
talks
her
about
sources prepared.
no,
She's
no,
got
no.
stats
I
and
got
data.
stats. I got stats because I'm trying to convince you ladies. It's the 4-8-12 rule.
Oh.
So this therapist says you need 4 hugs a day for survival, 8 for maintenance, like mentally,
Oh my god.
you're there, and 12 for growth. So I guess, if you're one of those type of people that are not into that too much, you might want to start small but build your way up.
Wow.
And she goes by it, and it's a thing. It's a
I
thing.
So, Neelam, I have a question. Like, okay, so with your data here, the benefits are for the person who is doing the hugging. It's not necessarily the person who's receiving the hug because
Hugs are
you're
mutual,
giving me a hug.
Michelle. You give and you receive.
And
It's
I
the
beg
sa-
to
it's the
disagree.
same
Exactly.
feeling. It's the same feeling. The only
No,
difference
no, no,
is if
no.
you're the hugger, you have to do a little extension first, and maybe you do a little wrap around if you're the huggy.
Yeah, but okay, when you're hugging someone, Neelam, I'm sure you can tell the difference in the types of hugs. Like, for
Who's the
example,
best
when you
hugger
come,
at our school?
yeah, like,
I'm not going to go into who's the best
All right,
hugger. That's
do the
not
top
fair.
three. Do
But
the top three.
no, no, no.
who's
Wait,
the
wait, wait.
worst?
I
Michelle.
just, no, 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 no. I just want to say that it goes both ways, right? When you hug someone, so first of all, like you said, Karen, it helps you calm down. It helps me calm down. But it also
It,
is an unspoken message to tell that person, and I won't hug everybody, right? But it tells that person, you know what, I'm here for you without even saying a word.
All right,
And it speaks to that.
I'm caught up on like two things you said. First of all, 10 seconds. You do not hug me for 10 seconds. So tomorrow we're going to
I
time
do
it.
not because it does
I
get a
would
little
die.
bit awkward. Would you like me to hug you for 10
I
seconds
just want to
tomorrow?
try it and
No.
see how long it
Okay.
Oh,
feels.
oh, I like that. No, in
Reto,
Spanish,
challenge.
a
Challenge.
challenge. Yes,
All right.
a challenge. Hug me for 10 seconds. The 10-second hug.
And the 4
And let's see
8
how you feel.
12. The 4 8
Yeah,
12. I mean, now I
that's what
understand
she
why maybe
was
I
talking
I
about.
feel my
Yeah.
life is a mess. I'm not getting enough hugs.
Well, there you go.
We're going to
There
put
you
that
go.
4
Let's
8
start hugging.
12 facts in the comments for our listeners.
Exactly, and I think we should do the challenge for all our listeners.
Mhm.
I think,
10-second hugs.
Hug
and
the
I think
boss
we should have,
tomorrow. 10
Oh.
seconds.
okay, let's see what his feedback is. But I think we should have a national hug day at work. A
Um,
national hug day at
there's
work. Maybe
National
it's like an
Everything
internal thing.
Days. I'm sure there is a National Hug Day.
A national hug day. I've not checked when that would be,
I'm Googling
but
that
it
right
will be
now.
interesting. It will
There's a
be interesting
National
Wow.
to have.
Everything.
Okay,
Wednesday,
I think you
January 21st, 2026. We
oh, we
missed it.
missed
We
it.
just
Oh.
missed it. Oh, sugar.
All right. Well, there you go. We hope that you take it into consideration whether you're the hugger or the huggy to be a little more open minded to hugging. And thank you,
Because
Thank you for
Neelam.
there are
having me.
benefits. Uh-huh. Thank you,
Take
Neela.
care. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Karen. Bye.
I don't know. What else are we missing? I don't know. The one that's like confrontational or aggressive. Again, I think now in our workplace, I don't see these things as much, but in certain jobs I've had, the one that will come up to you and be super aggressive or
Yeah. Um,
the flirt.
the flirt. Now, see, the flirt is fun to have around. The flirt is fun,
Hmm.
you know.
Well, I don't know. Coworker. I mean, I've had some coworkers as romances, and in
Scandalous.
some
Wait, isn't
case,
there music for that? Scandalous.
um, I could do the drums.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think sometimes when you're working with like a romance, it's like, I don't know, you do your job better, you know, you have your self-esteem
Oh,
boost,
okay.
you're happier.
Yeah, yeah.
There was a lot of that in the
I can
restaurant.
imagine. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I didn't have any flirting or
Um,
romance in my work. No.
but there's two kinds of flirting. There's the flirting that makes you feel good and the flirting that is like creepy to you. And
Oh,
that
the
that
creepy.
doesn't
Oh,
feel good.
most definitely. Creepy. Oof. Terrible. When they
Yeah.
look at you funny or they say something that they're not supposed to say. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Or they just look you up and down every time you walk by
Yeah.
them, which male or females do
Yeah.
that.
True, true. Not good.
So,
Okay. Well, so in the end, you gotta, whether you have all these personalities or have encountered them sometime, whether you believe in friendship at work or you keep your distance, we have to remember, people, that work is like a family. That's why you like some people and some people you don't. But you got to deal with them. It's like Thanksgiving dinner. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. You go and you like, I don't really like you, but I got to deal with you. That's how it is.
right. You might not like everyone, but you have to get along. And, you know, I think being strategic
Yes.
in your work relationships is important. Being strategically friendly, polite, um, faking it to a certain extent. I think you have to do that,
Yes,
even
most
if it doesn't feel
definitely.
good all the
Most
time.
definitely. But you don't have to talk to everybody or be social to everybody, I don't think. I mean, that would be the one thing I would say is important to understand and make that
Hmm.
normal. Because again, I go back to not everybody's an extrovert. And some people like to keep to themselves. Hint, hint.
All right. So now you know how to treat Michelle. So let us know in the comments, you know, how is your workplace? Is your workplace the same? What type of
How
relationships do you have
friendly
at
are you
work?
at
What type of
work? And are
relationships?
the people that you work
Yeah.
with, are
What
they
ty-
your friends? All right.
exactly.
Until next time.
Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye.
Congratulations and thanks for listening.
We really appreciate it.
You made it to the end.
There we go. Remember to follow our show and comment below.
And if you really liked us,
Connect with us on social media at the Nobody Talks About It podcast.
until next time.
Bye.